it's me. We're gonna react to Fortune's creepy McDonald's story. It's really creepy, guys. Well, my friend's right here with Derek. Derek, say hi, Derek.
Derek! Hey!
Okay, and he's right here. We're about to react to Fortune creepy McDonald's.
The Wi-Fi is not working right now.
Freaking Wi-Fi. Work Wi-Fi. We're not gonna change another one.
Bro, why did this go there? Let's do this.
Wait a second. Watch. The following stories are submitted by users from Let's Not Meet Up from viewers. Some of the following may be from the perspective of women.
He's getting notification texts.
Yeah.
Of Abby family.
Yeah. You know them?
Yeah.
Really?
They know something that big box.
The following stories are submitted. Mr. One. No.
Are you serious?
You can't be so seriously, kid.
Does the Wi-Fi even connect it, bro?
No.
When I was growing up,
Wait!
my dad and I lived with my grandparents. My parents had me while they were teenagers, and my dad got full custody because he lived with my grandparents, and my mom was just living with random friends, going from house to house every few weeks. I was the daughter my grandparents never had, and they doted on me. When I was 6, my grandpa passed away from cancer. This story takes place about 5 months after he passed.
I know them.
This was, I believe, on a Saturday, and my dad was at work.
Most of the time,
My gram decided to take me to McDonald's for lunch.
I only go inside
And
by
like
the
any
mall.
6-year-old,
Those are safe for you.
I was really excited. So we go down to the McDonald's that was about 1.5 miles from our house, order our lunch, and sit down at a table to eat. At the time, we were the only ones eating inside. About 10 minutes after we sit down, though, a scraggly-looking man walks in, orders a meal, and sits down at the table diagonally in front of us to the
Okay,
left.
now this is really creepy already.
The area we lived in was middle and upper class, so this guy looked pretty out of place. Graham had her back to him, but I could see him perfectly. This man was in at least his mid-50s, with really wiry, scraggy, and dirty white hair and a beard.
Okay.
He had on blue shorts
I know
and
those
a white
men. Those are
t-shirt,
the poor men.
also kind of dirty,
Grandpa.
and sandals. It's amazing. This happened 21 years ago, but I can remember it like it was yesterday. So I noticed that under the table, this man had something dark, pink, and wrinkly in his lap, and he kept glancing at me and rubbing it every few seconds. In kindergarten, we learned about stranger danger, and good touch, bad touch, and learned which parts of our body people weren't supposed to touch. It clicked in my 6-year-old head that this man was not supposed to have that out like that, nor be doing what he was doing. I got really queasy and nervous. I didn't want to tell my gram right then and there, because I thought the man might hurt us.
Okay, this is really
Be quiet.
If my dad had been there, though, I would have said something, because my dad was my hero and could take on anybody. Instead, I put my Happy Meal box in front of my face, so my view of this guy could be blocked. I had about half of my food left, but at this point, I'd lost my appetite. Graham asked me if I was full, and I just nodded yes. I was, and still am, very petite, so not finishing a full meal was nothing new for me. She asked me if I wanted to go play in the play area before we left, but I just shook my head and quietly said, I want to go home. Graham cleared our table, and we left. When we got home, I was still really nervous, and I felt like I was going to throw up. Graham asked me, "What's the matter, Munchkin?" her pet name for me, and I started crying and told her about the man at the McDonald's and what I saw. My Gram didn't panic or freak or get hysterical. She just hugged me and said, "It's all right. Go on to your room and play. I'll take care of it." She wiped my tears, gave me a blueberry Kool-Aid burst, and told our dog, Patches, to go to my room with me, which she did. After I was out of earshot, Graham called the McDonald's and told them about this guy. Turns out he was still there. The manager told Graham he'd take care of it and call her back. An hour later, the manager calls back and tells Graham they called the police, who showed up in record time and arrested the guy. When the police told the man to stand up, his franken beans were still hanging out of his shorts. The manager also told Graham that she could bring me back for a month's worth of coupons for free Happy Meals. I have another story about a weirdo that happened a few years later.
Yeah.
And this time my dad
Finally,
was
guys,
there.
these are way more creepy
And
than
believe
this
me,
one.
what my dad did to him was not pretty. But
Yeah,
that's a
this is
story
really
for another
creepy.
time. I was living in a low-income housing apartment in Minnesota, and at the
I don't like
time, my
apartments.
mom and I simply couldn't
Well, kind of,
afford to have
because
an
like there's
actual
not like a
internet
lot of
provider.
people in company and stuff.
This meant that I leached off of people in my building who had an unprotected wireless connection. Whenever their internet connections would go out,
Doesn't
I
look
would
like
be forced to walk
McDonald's.
down to McDonald's in
That's
order
enough.
to use the free Wi-Fi there. This had become a pretty common thing for me. During one of these internet droughts, I was standing about in the lobby of my apartment, about to leave, when the guy who lived next door to me, an older guy named Joe, stops me before I go. He tells me that him and another one of my neighbors were going to McDonald's for coffee, and that he'd buy me one if I went along. I figured, why not? I didn't really know much about Joe, since I mostly kept to myself. Let me explain, Joe. He's a hunchback with a beer gut,
Guys,
and a ZZ
we
Top-esque
might
beard
stop
who's
it
full
like
of food crumbs that I could only assume were from a
3 because
McBiscuit.
we're gonna wrap it up
But he
here.
seemed
Because
like a nice
it's gonna
enough
take for
guy,
19 minutes,
so I went
and it
along.
might take for long. So
After a
we
ride in his
can't really
rickety
keep up
truck
to
through
this.
the Minnesota winter, I was happy to reach the McDonald's.
That's
Free
inside of the
Wi-Fi
room.
at last. And if Joe held up
That's
to his
inside. I
word,
thought I was
free
outside of
McCoffee
the
as
room.
well. I sit down and fire up the laptop to soak in all of that free Wi-Fi. Soon after, Joe comes back with our McCoffees. As soon as he sits down, he starts asking me in a raspy voice, "So, boy, ever heard of God's DNA?" I look up from the Windows loading screen and ask, what? I was totally baffled and thinking, great, stuck with another fucking missionary. He goes on to inform me that God's DNA is the molecules that hold the
Be
universe together.
quiet.
Not to mention, he goes on to inform me that God's DNA is the molecules that hold the universe together.
Oh.
Not to mention, it's what makes men genetically superior to women. I sure as shit didn't learn that in physics class, so I blew him off, and when I got the chance, quietly ducked into another booth to browse the internet in peace. He didn't seem to notice, because afterwards, a barrage of freaky beardy lumberjack dudes would come in and out of the McDonald's and talk to him for like 15 minutes at a time. I can only assume they were talking about God's DNA, because I did my best not to pay any attention. But Joe and his gang of weirdos still gave me a very creeped out feeling. I could tell that they kept looking over to stare at me when they thought I wasn't looking. Having had enough weirdness for the night, I decided to duck out when he hobbled off to the bathroom, I assume only to take an epic mix shit. I took my chance, folded up the laptop, and headed out to brave the cold Minnesota winter on the way back home. I reckon that having to put up with the elements was still preferable to being around a bunch of weird-looking lumberjack creeps. I was almost back to the apartment when I heard the truck slowly rolling up and crunching the snow. I looked over my shoulder and saw Joe in his truck. Next to him was another one of those fucking bearded bums from McDonald's. I waved to them, but I got no response. Whatever, I thought. I went home for the night after that creepiness. But then, every night after that, every time I went to McDonald's, either Joe or one of his weirdo lumberjack buddies would be there. I could practically
It's because of him. Oh, hurry up.
feel them leering at me. They always appeared grungy and disheveled. Forced to go to McDonald's just to use the internet, I tried avoiding them as much as I could. It almost seemed as if they knew ahead of time that I was going to be there. considering they all had a relationship with Joe.
Okay, guys, you're gonna wrap it up here because it's gonna take forever for him to tell the story. So, peace.